10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi and welcome to Dax Chats. I am DJ Dax, and Dax Chats is proudly supported by Neon Horse in Stanhope, Victoria. Today I am talking to someone that just came out of nowhere. We don't know where she came from. Well, we do. She came from Central Queensland. She's very young. She's been through the Senior Academy of Country Music in 2018. She brought out her debut single a few months back, and that was called Little Eyes. She has a brand new single out now, and it's called, I'm not telling you, we'll talk to her. Today, Dax Chats to Rachael Dee, and here she is right now. Hello. Rachael. Hey. So, yeah, we do know where you come from. Where you come from, Central Queensland, but we don't know where you came. We don't know where you came from, because you just appeared out of nowhere with this wonderful song called Little Eyes. Tell us about your journey before the debut single came out.
Yeah, well, it's been a journey. So I grew up in the bush. I grew up in a little town called Barcaldine, which is right pretty much in the middle of Queensland. That's where I grew up. So I'm a country girl at heart. I currently live in Rockhampton, which obviously is in central Queensland, so that's where I'm based. I have a mum, I have a beautiful little boy, and with that I have to balance quite a few things. And music's always been a big part of my life, and singing's always been something that's made me very happy and fulfilled. And so I think, obviously I've gone through and I've done some studies and I've done some other things, and I always seem to keep coming back to music and singing and performing. And I guess, I've just got to the point where I'm like, that makes me really fulfilled and really happy. And I'm running with it. And as you've said, I did the academy, the Country Music Academy in 2018, and that was just the most incredible experience for me. I was so humbled. The students with me there are just incredible artists. And we were mentored by some incredible industry names, and it sort of set a foundation in me that I really needed, and it gave me a really good network, a really good base. And yeah, I was very fortunate. As you said, I released Little Eyes in March, and that was co-wrote with Matt Scullion, and that was written at the Academy with Matt in our writing session. So as soon as we wrote that song, I knew that I was going to be releasing that. Yeah.
Matt's a brilliant bloke, absolutely brilliant bloke. I have met Matt down in Newcastle, and he's a wonderful character. I wanted to write with him, but we never got the chance. But we still may. It's just these Zoom calls now and these streaming calls. Yeah, so now Little Eyes is about seeing the world from a different perspective. And I totally agree with the song, because through the eyes of a child, things are so much different.
They are. And I think anybody who is around these little amazing little people will totally relate to this. And I'm a mum, so as a mum, I get it, and I think all mums do. But you don't have to be a mum to understand that. They have a way of seeing life. It's like an adventure, and it's magical. And they find, they just seem to be able to show gratitude for the most simple things. And I think as adults, we sort of become conditioned through life and society and everything. And by the end of our life, it's like we're trying to find our way back to where we were and how we understood the world as a child. And So I think we can learn a lot from these amazing little people. They've got no fear, and they're so resilient. They live life to the fullest, and they're not. I don't know. They're not swayed or biased. You know, they're not racist. They're not. There's none of those sort of discriminatory factors. They're just beautiful and pure, and it's just something I think we should really look at and acknowledge, and hopefully we can take some lessons on from it. So that's what Little Eyes is all about. Yeah.
Oh, look, yeah, that's something amazing. I love that because, you know, obviously I have a two-year-old son here, and watching him explore everything, and his need for attention and his need to, you know, just delve into things, and, you know, the way he speaks to people now and stuff like that. And you're true. It doesn't matter who comes to the door. He's happy to talk to anybody. You know, there's no racism, you know, like nothing like that.
No.
So that's something that gets conditioned by society throughout our life, and we don't understand where it comes from.
No, and you know, I think it takes some time for us as, you know, people to realise how much we let external factors influence our own thoughts and our own mind. And children are just pure. They're not affected by anything yet. And yeah, I don't know, they're just amazing. Being a mum, my little boy has opened my eyes up a lot, and so Little Eyes was just a beautiful song. I call it's my son's song because he is the major influence behind Little Eyes.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's what it's all about.
Cool, very good. I'm sure your little boy is just a wonder. I know mine is. Mine's going through the terrible 2 stages right now. So he's a bit of a meanie because he likes sharks and he likes dinosaurs and he likes crocodiles.
That's a boy thing, isn't it? I don't know, they seem to hang on to those things. They do.
Yep, that's very true. That's very true.
Yeah.
So now you've come out with a brand new song. It's not on your website. I told you that.
Yes.
But you've come out with a brand new song called Braveheart. Now, can you? And it's one word. Sorry, Braveheart. Can you talk us through the new song?
Absolutely. So, yeah, Braveheart, it's one of those songs as well, just like Little Eyes. When I wrote it, I knew I was going to release this song as well. It really connected with me, and I actually co-wrote this with Roger Corbett. So I did a writing session with Roger in his home down south, and it was incredible. We just wrote for a whole day solid, and Braveheart was one of the first few songs that we did. And at the time, there was a lot happening in my life, and I don't know, I guess I tapped into that. I needed something. I needed to pull some strength up in myself at that time. And I had the concept. I loved the idea of exploring storm analogies and the power of a storm and how it can rock you. And Roger's just tremendous. He's an amazing musician, so he knew how to take it there as well musically. And Braveheart it's all about strength and courage and resilience. It's about seeing that in someone else, but also for me, it was about pulling it out of myself in difficult times. And, you know, this is the perfect time to release it, I feel. Nobody's immune to challenges in life in all different ways, but this year's been a big year for us as human population. So I think it's so relatable. It's never been a better time. And I hope people connect with it because, you know, there's a lot of people. I think people need to know that they can sit in their emotions. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty and sadness and probably anger at the moment out there in the world. And I don't know, you can't heal unless you sit in those emotions. And it's just about giving people hope and faith that they can pull through those difficult times, basically.
True.
Yeah.
True. Now, there is obviously this is the worst time that we've had in my generation. We've never had anything like this. Obviously, in your generation, you've never had anything like this. So this is all new for us, and probably even my parents. My parents didn't suffer through this, but my grandparents might have, in the last pandemic over 100 years ago. But
That's right.
I think not even my grandparents. I think my great grandparents was probably that far back. I'm not that old yet. So this has completely changed the way things happen in the world, and you had to release this song. As you said, there was no more fitting time for it, but releasing a song during this time, there's not. Do you feel that there's not the impact that it would have if you were able to go out and tour and sing the song and have audiences and go to radio interviews at radio stations that you can't do anymore? And so what's the difference between the success with Little Eyes, because that was before the pandemic, to Braveheart, where you've released it right in the middle of a pandemic where you can't really move around much?
Well, that's right. Little Eyes was literally just before things started getting pretty hairy. So I do, and there were a few things starting to come in straight after I released Little Eyes. So there were some things put on hold and changed pretty much straight away. But I definitely feel, I mean, when you hear the song on the radio and on Country Thunder and everything, obviously you can connect with it there, but there's something about live performance and live vulnerability that I think can't get across that way. And we're so lucky. We've got modern technology now, so we can still connect like we are. But there's just that element that's not quite the same. And like you said, like I had applied. There was a number of festivals that I was, going for this year, and I was really keen to get out there and share some music. But obviously haven't got that opportunity now. But I don't know. I just felt like even if I could just get it out there on radio waves and streaming and everything, if it makes a difference in someone's life, that's what's important to me. And
cool.
As soon as I can, I'll be definitely getting out there doing more live stuff. But in the meantime, if it helps people in some way, that makes me very happy, and that's why I do what I do. And as I've said to you before, my driver is contribution and connection. That's why I do what I do, and that's what I want my songs to be about. They're about a story or have a strong concept or a strong message that I think people can get something from. And so for me, I thought, you know what, it's a gamble, it is a risk. Maybe it would have had a bigger impact in a different situation, but we are where we are, and I choose to see the silver lining, and I just choose to see what opportunities arise from that, basically. Yeah.
Because the one thing that I have noticed, and it is I reckon it is due to the pandemic, the success you had with Little Eyes on the Country Thunder 20 chart, where you got to number one.
Yeah.
As compared to your new single, which really hasn't got to that level. So I really do think that this pandemic has affected things in so many ways, not just live performances, but people can't get out to hear the music, or they're not listening to the music because they're all stuck at home with their kids, and their kids are yelling and screaming and
Well, absolutely. And like Little Eyes on release day, it actually got to number 3 on the chart, on the country chart, which was fantastic. Which was higher than Little Eyes. But like you said, when it comes down to exposure and consistency, it hasn't held up the same, So I guess I took the risk, I took the gamble, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, it's a great song. There's no two ways about it. It's a fantastic song, and I do love it. And it does give a, you know, as I said to you off camera, your music gives you this idea of hope, and you know, it's very uplifting. And I do like your music quite a lot.
So much. And you know, like, yeah, as I said, that's what I love that. That's a wonderful compliment to me, because that's what I want it to be about. I want it to lift people up, and I want it to help people and do, you know, make things better for people if it can. Yeah.
For sure. Now I do have to, you know, obviously the COVID issue has happened. What has COVID done for you? Because I know many artists have gone and done a whole heap of different things, like, you know, live virtual concerts and multi-camera things, like JC's done with his thing down at the ranch, and Casey Barnes did his album launch with this multi-camera, all things going, lights and everything. How have you adapted to the new normal?
That's a very good question. So obviously I can't get out and do anything like everyone else really at the moment. I've still been able to get around in Queensland, which is really good. So I've got some brilliant musicians that I work with. They're predominantly based in Brisbane, so I've pretty much gone down and we've haven't put them out yet, but there will be some cover sessions coming up. Which I'm very excited about. So there's Ben Westfall in Brisbane. He's an instrumentalist that was at the Academy the same year I went, and he's just a magician on a guitar. He is brilliant. So we took the opportunity to showcase, you know, my vocal, but also Ben's incredible talent on instruments, and that will be going up on my Facebook page as well as my YouTube channel. So they're covers of popular country songs. So we're really excited about that. And I've sort of taken the time to obviously I'm releasing Braveheart, but just sort of reflect on the feedback that I've got, and just try and, you know, just reflect on what direction I want to take as an artist or where I can improve. Yeah, so I guess a bit of songwriting here and there. I think we've all gone to songwriting in the times that we're in too.
Correct. Even me. I've been a songwriter for 26 years, and the last single I released was a single called, well, the single before the last single I released was a single called The Whiskey, which was written by myself and co-written with Troy Kemp. That was in 2019. This year I released a song called Railway in the Sky, which was just a thing to get my emotions out, because my father passed away and my father worked on the railway. And then while I was doing that, I started to pull stuff out, and this whole pandemic was on, and I was going crazy. I started the radio station because of the pandemic. This whole thing's only been running since February. You know,
which is fantastic, you know, because you're choosing to see the silver lining, and you're moving towards a productive side, which is wonderful. This is fantastic, yeah.
So then I pulled out a song that I hadn't looked at for 2 years. I'd put it away since 2018, and I was like, pulled it out again, and I started writing a little bit more, and I went, I think I know who I need to help me with this. And so I just sent a message on Facebook Messenger and said, hey, do you want to help out do this? And so she said back and forward, and we did back and forward, and now the song's just been produced by Bill Chambers and is going on the co-writer's new album.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I'm stoked. I was like, I never thought in any world that Bill Chambers would ever produce one of my songs, you know, like.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, mine was all done with Simon Johnson, so he's at Hillbilly Hut Studios in the
Hillbilly Hut.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience, and there's world-class musicians on those 2 tracks. So that was
I'll tell you what, the Central Coast of New South Wales has some of the best talent in country music there is. You know, you've got Hillbilly Hut, you've got Shane Nicholson, you've got Bill Chambers, you've got Gina Jeffries and Rod McCormick. You know, they're all there, and Adam Harvey's there, and I think
I've been
just
told that I have to move to Newcastle. That's been one of the things. I need to move to Newcastle. That's where everything's happening.
Correct. I mean, Newcastle is becoming the centre, and I don't like saying that because that, you know, they like to say that Tamworth's the capital of country music in Australia, but in actual fact, Newcastle is becoming that centre of country music in Australia. You got Katie Jane down there, you got Chelsea Berman down there, you got Matt Scullion down there, you got everybody that's anybody is already in Newcastle. You know,
that's right.
So
that's right.
And so when I lived when I lived back there in 2018, I lived on the Central Coast, so I was that close to everything that was happening, and then when I came back in 2019, I was living on the Tweed Coast, and I was like miles apart from anything.
You know, Australia is it's such a huge country. Like it's incredible. So like, and you know, that's the other thing. You know, once you get a team around you, it's fantastic. But we're quite stretched out. The team's got quite a lot of distance between each other. So you've got to work with that too.
How do you feel about like doing remote recording? Like, because of this whole situation, I know that Beck Lavelle, Jem Cassadaly, Cora Norton, Caitlin Thomas, and somebody else, and Ingrid May, all did the song Nervous Girls from their own lockdown. They did their own pieces, and then it was brought back to a studio and mixed and mastered and amazing. It's you know, when you listen to the song, you think they were all together. You know, but they all did. But, so how do you feel moving forward? Do you think that remote recording would be something that you would be able to handle?
I think so. I think obviously with my setup, what I have at home at the moment, I wouldn't cut it. I know that, but I think that if you've got the facilities in proximity and you can do that, I can't see why not. It's modern technology is incredible, and like you said, most of the time once it's gone in and it's been produced and mastered properly by good professionals, you don't even know the difference. It's incredible what can be done these days. So Correct. I think if it keeps music happening and it keeps people doing what they love, that can only be a good thing through these times. Yeah.
Now, after these times are gone, because we all hope that it does go away eventually, after these times are gone, do you feel that this is still this virtual stuff that we're doing with the Facebook Lives and the Facebook interviews and the Zoom stuff? Do you think there's still a place for that after the pandemic?
I think so. You know, just because of one thing is because we're so stretched apart, it's a brilliant opportunity to still. It's still a good way to get awareness out there. It's still a good way to network, and it's amazing who you've never heard of. And then when you go into their stories, you think, wow, they've done some incredible stuff. They've got some incredible music, but you don't know about it unless you're exposed to it. So I think it'd be a fantastic complementary thing.
Yeah.
And there are so many people who really engage in online stuff, you know, like not everybody, some people prefer that. Some people, that is how they do everything in their lives and that's what they prefer. So it's a way to tap into a whole new audience in some ways. Yeah.
Correct. And that's what I think. I mean, there's so many people that like to go out and see live music and stuff like that, and that's their thing. But there are other people that are so busy that don't have the time to do that stuff. Right. That spend their time online all the time. So these types of shows and the Midday Muster, Danny's done some amazing job Good on Denny Young. I love her.
Yep.
You know, Country Kickback, all of these platforms, plus the artists going live on their own Facebook pages and doing their own thing to keep their audience involved on their own page. I think it's an amazing thing to keep going even after this is over.
I think so. And you know, the other thing is, like, I know and probably for a lot of artists, independent artists who are doing things their own way, and you know, everyone's on their own journey. And for me, you know, like I'm a mum and I've got a little boy, and I'm balancing so many different parts of my life, and so I'm not. Sometimes I can't be on the road consistently for big blocks of time. So this is an avenue for me to get exposure and meet new fans, or you know, network with people when I can't be out in the midst of it physically all the time because I'm balancing so many other aspects in life. And so it's an opportunity for me to do what I love, to contribute, but still keep balance so I can keep all my ducks in a row in my life as well. So I really appreciate that. Yeah.
No worries. Well, I guess it's been 25 minutes. Look at that. It's been wonderful chatting to you. Thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to me, little old Dax here. And all the best with the new song, Braveheart. I hope that it starts to start getting some momentum, and we hope to hear something new from you soon as well.
Oh, I've got a few things in the pipeline, don't you worry. I'm very excited about some other stuff that I can sure you will come out. So, yeah, I'll definitely be letting you know when that's happening.
I'm sure we'll be talking again when that does happen.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for everything.
No worries. Thank you. All right, that was Rachael Dee. You've been listening to or watching Dax Chats, proudly supported by Neon Horse. You can listen to Little Eyes and Braveheart on the Country Thunder Network. You can vote for both of the tracks one at a time. You can only vote once a week. On the Country Thunder 20, just go to our website, countrythunder.com.au, and the voting form is at the top of the page. Until I see you next time, this is DJ Dax signing out for Dax Chats. Bye for now.